Hello everyone, my name is Shaylee Hancock and I am going to be discussing the issue of transferring transient resources in Powell, Wyoming. So in Powell, Wyoming, we have a fairly high population of transient people. Transient people are individuals who are passing through or they kind of just float around and never really stick around. So they're not homeless people, but they're here for a while and they need assistance and then they move on. So here in Powell, we have many resources for these transient people. We have the local food bank, we have gas vouchers, hotel vouchers, meal vouchers, and these are all provided to the transient population by our different organizations. We have over 50 nonprofits in Powell, Wyoming. And these nonprofits get together, they form coalitions, and they provide resources for these people. However, the distribution system is absolutely 100% flawed. Right now, these vouchers are housed at the police department, and the food bank is housed 5 miles out of town. So the police department has a very poor stigma when it comes to the transient population. Now, I'm not talking bad about the police department because my husband is a police officer, so that's not my intentions here. But what I'm saying is that when you're talking about a transient person, this person may or may not have had past run-ins with law enforcement. And that makes them leery of going to the police department to receive assistance. The other side of it is that some of the transient population may be scared or anxious due to the police department having preconceived notions about this person. Um, as you know, the police department probably deals with a lot of people that are trying to use and abuse the system. Now, when people come through and they actually do need help, those other people ruin it for the people who actually do need help, and that is disheartening, but that's just the case. So the majority of these transient people have no transportation to get 5 miles out to the annex to go to the food bank during the few hours that the food bank is open each week. They also don't have photo IDs, they don't have cell phones. If they don't have a cell phone, they can't call the Social Security office, they can't get a job because they don't have a photo ID. I mean, this is just a spinning wheel of problems and problems that aren't getting fixed because there's no way to fix them. Um, so the resources that are available to them are being so underutilized because the police department will not hand out vouchers very often. The police department has a lot to do, but their dispatchers are in charge of delivering these or distributing these resources, and they are very strict with how they give them out. You cannot receive vouchers if you don't have a photo ID, and that is a main problem for most of this transient population. And they're not being taken care of like they should be. So my solution to this is going to be hopefully one day in the near future to be able to have a centralized location in Powell where all of these resources are housed, all of the vouchers, the food bank, a phone that people can use, and it will be staffed by volunteers. But of course, you're thinking, where's the money coming from? And that answer I do not have. But we'll go ahead and go through this stakeholder slide. So the positive attitude with much power, this first quadrant here, I have indicated the police chief Roy Eckert. He has a positive attitude about moving the resources to somewhere else because it is a lot of work for his dispatchers to have to handle, and I'm sure that he no longer wants that responsibility. And he does have a lot of power because He's housed right next to City Council, and he would be a very, very great stakeholder to have on our side. We'll go over to the negative attitude with much power. I would say the city council members. Some may have a negative attitude because they're going to be the naysayers. Where are we going to get the money? What building are you going to use? They're really going to challenge this idea. The positive attitude with little power would definitely be the Visitor Center Executive Director, Rebecca Burns. She definitely is for this movement because in the past, the transient population has gone to her building, and she is running an economic development office, the Small Business Development Center, the Visitor Center, and the Chamber of Commerce out of that building. And having businesses come in and out, but yet having a bunch of transient people in and out of there, it doesn't fit well, and she is wanting to find a solution as well. The negative attitude with little power, I would definitely say the City of Powell citizens, because again, they're going to be like, where is this money going to come from? Are we going to be taxed? Are we going to have to pay for something? And they don't necessarily want the transient population here either. So some things that we can do to keep people engaged at all levels is for the police chief, Roy Eckert, to reassure him constantly, that we're working on this issue. If you help us more, or if you help us along the way, we're going to get there. Just stay positive, be patient. The city council members, I think it's going to be super important to involve them in all decisions so that they feel like they have a say in things. The Visitor Center Executive Director, Rebecca Burns, asking her for resources because she is so willing to do anything and everything to help. Keeping her engaged would be utilizing the resources that she is willingly giving. And then the City of Powell citizens, it's just going to be super important to educate them about what we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it. Just letting them go along the journey with us will be huge. So a coalition would be fantastic, and luckily Park County already has one. It's called the Park County Health Coalition, and these are the people that definitely need to be taking care of something like this. So involving them and getting their help is going to be super important. We will be able to reach the masses with their strong following. They will be helpful in potentially getting assistance and funding through the state, and also utilizing their invested stakeholders because their mission is going to fit exactly what we're trying to do. The volunteers that I want to get involved are going to be either retirees, stay-at-home parents, something along those lines, because they're going to be free during the day, whereas someone that works a full-time job or is going to school just wouldn't be useful because they're not available during the day when this centralized location needs to be open for this transient population. Lastly, the biggest thing that I have learned in this class and will take away is utilize the resources that are there, finding those stakeholders and finding those coalitions and those community groups and organizations, instead of recreating a wheel, recreating what's already there, being able to reach out into the community and find those resources and utilize them, and offer your assistance to try to help them to grow their mission and vision instead of trying to recreate something that's already done. Thank you all so much for a great semester, and good luck in your future endeavors.